If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new album in the description. This new King Von album just dropped. What It Means to Be King, the first posthumous release from King Von after he passed away in November of 2020. Rest in peace. Now, this album made a lot of videos, in the rollout for this, and the last one last night talking about the leaked track list for this thing, so we were all hyped up for this record because, King Von is someone who got taken way too early from us. He still had a very bright career in front of him, and specifically now this album, fans have heard a lot of leaks, a lot of unreleased stuff. There's a lot of Von, leaks out there. Just, search it on YouTube and you find so many that fans were, of course, excited to hear what we were getting on this new record, and it's finally here now. Let's look at the details. Let's look at what tracks are on here and how this fits into his discography, and if this does justice to the legacy he's trying to leave behind. So let's jump straight into this. So this thing dropped on March 4th, obviously, so today, and spans across 19 tracks and 48 minutes and 51 seconds. I went over that in the video yesterday. The track list got cut down. The Phil Jackson track with Polo G is not on here, which a lot of fans were already sad about, but at least we got all the tracks that we now have finally. So 19 tracks. I'm going to go through it real quick because we didn't have the full track list before it dropped, and so we still got a couple of new titles that we didn't know before. So it starts out with Where I'm From, and then War, the second single that we only got a couple of days ago that I really like, and I was hoping that if this is like the energy that the rest of the album is on, then this about to be fire, and I was not wrong. This thing just has that typical Von aggressive, energetic style to it, and I really like that. But let's go through the titles and features real quick before we get into what I think about this album. Then a track called FaceTime with G Herbo that we knew about before that. Then the first single we got for this, Don't Play That. I wasn't too much of a fan of that, but still a very solid track. Then a Fabio Foreign feature called Straight to It. Then Trust Nothing with Moneybag Yo. And then the Durkio track Evil Twins that we've been waiting for a very long time. Then we got Too Real, Rich Gangsta with T Grizzly. Then Mad. Then My Fault with A Boogie. Then Change. Then Hard to Trust with Dreezy. Then Get Back with Boss Top and DQ from the O. Then Get It Done with OMB Peasy. Chase the Bag. Go and Get Him with Boss Top again. Grandson for President, and Family Dedication outro. So 19 tracks in total. Quite a bit. Usually I don't like when albums are this long, but in this case it really worked because most of the tracks are just like 2 minutes in length, which is not a bad thing. This is a posthumous release, so for a lot of these tracks it's just a couple of snippets that we were going off of, so it's not too surprising that not all of them are like full-length tracks. I'm always a bit skeptical when I see sub 2 minute songs, but I think it worked in this case because Von really made the most of them, and he's just rapping his ass off on here. Like, you can tell that this man was still very hungry at this point, and that is something that I really like to see. Now, as I already said earlier, throughout the whole album we have that aggressive and more violent Von style. He does switch it up from time to time. For example, on Don't Play That, it's more mellow, and then another example of that is the A Boogie track, My Fault, which I really liked. And now, having listened to the 19 tracks, I would have wished for more of them to be more, mellow and not the same kind of style that we've heard him do, so many times already in the past. I get that he can't reinvent his music now. This was all recorded before November 2020, obviously, so we can't blame him for that, for not going past that level artistically. But it would have just been something that if they had put together this thing in more of a diverse way, the track list. I know some of the leaks out there have a more mellow style that Von is doing, so it's not like the material isn't there, but I guess they just thought that this style was the one that sold the most. And of course that is something that Von is known for. I'm not trying to take that away from him. That is still the music that I want to hear from him, basically. But I'm just saying, from time to time, it's nice to hear artists switch things up. My favorite tracks on here are still War, definitely. I also really like Straight to It, and then Evil Twins, amazing. That track from the leaks we heard, now having it on streaming, still an amazing track. Another one of my favorites is Change My Life. I just think it's, funny what he's talking about on there. Those are kind of like my favorites, and we have a really, a family dedication outro with just some words from Von, and this truly, when you listen to the whole thing in one sitting and you get to that outro, That's kind of heartbreaking listening to that and hearing him talk, man. But all in all, it's the outro for an incredible album. It's something that will definitely preserve his legacy in a fitting way. So I'm really not complaining. For most of the features, I think that they were not added after the fact. I maybe think so with the G Herbo feature, for example, and maybe some of the, the Fabio Foreign track maybe as well, because I'm not sure if they would have collaborated while Vaughn was still alive. Could very well maybe, but I'm just saying that on some of those, I think they were added after the fact, but on the majority of them, they were, recorded with Vaughn having that artist in mind when doing the song, which is always a very good sign. And I like that. I also like that, those smaller artists from Chicago, from O Block, were featured on here as well to shine some light on them, and that's just another proof of how real Vaughn was. So I really like that. I really like how this album played with some of the big name features, and then later on in more of the deep cuts in the latter half of the track list, we have some smaller artists that may have meant more to Vaughn, or that may just come from the same place as Vaughn. I really like that. Of course, there's the question of how Vaughn's career is going to continue, at least his legacy of putting out music is going to continue, because we don't have word of another posthumous release dropping anytime soon. I think it'll kind of be the same way that they're now doing it with X, where singles are releasing one after another of just fan favorites, but we won't really be getting like a full-blown What It Means to Be King full-length album with 19 tracks and almost fully finished songs on there ever again, I believe. But correct me if I'm wrong, correct me if you have some more information on this, because I'm not an expert on this specifically. I also know that Vaughn has a lot of unreleased music videos also for some of these tracks, if I'm not wrong, so I think we can look forward to music videos that actually feature him, that he's featured in, coming in the next couple of days as this album just continues to be, relevant in the mainstream. So I'm really excited for that, because we've had Vaughn music videos released after he passed away that were like fully finished, so that's something that I'm personally looking forward to very much. So I'll be spitting this new What It Means to Be King record from King Von. I think this is a very good outro to his career and kind of preserving his legacy in a meaningful way. I think that this does justice to what basically every fan wanted. I get that a lot of leaks are on there, and that we had versions of track lists that were not this much based on stuff that fans had already heard. I'm also a bit mad that the Polo G track is not on here, but come on, man, just for Evil Twins, this is worth it. So yeah, King Von, What It Means to Be King, out now. Go run it up for Vaughn. This was just my thoughts, my review. Now I want to know what you think about this. Were you excited for this thing? How do you feel about it? How do you think it will preserve his legacy? Did it do justice to what Vaughn has left behind? What are your favorite tracks? What are your least favorite tracks? And all of that, please let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and you'll take care.